I'm gonna stay aggressive. I'm not gonna change who I am, but I can just protect it better.
This NFL thing it's hard. When these teams are good, it's a battle every single week. And, you're playing a divisional game. You got to, when you cross the 50-yard line, get into the red zone, you got to be able to, get 7 instead of 3. We didn't give ourselves enough opportunities to do that.
I feel like we took another step tonight. I'm going to have to still go back and watch film to see how we really did. But otherwise, I feel like we did a good job taking the ball away, trying to control the game. Just at that last stretch, we got to just do a better job of taking care of the ball and doing a better job of taking the ball away and putting our offense in a better position to make plays.
Yep, and they didn't do that. But, hi, Jane Slater. Let's talk the Cowboys side of things here first. There were some signs of life there, potentially, from that defense. And I know what the record says, but it's still the NFC East, so maybe those signs of life pay dividends as we move forward, and they very much hang in this.
Look, Mike McCarthy's been telling us that this is a process all along, and there has to be a buy-in. And you heard DeMarcus Lawrence say it there. There at least seemed to be that last night. Again, you don't have a lot of moral victories in football, but I think seeing the signs of life, seeing the energy, seeing these guys make plays finally, I think is something that even though 2-6 isn't worthy of applause, it gives you something to build on. Now, of course, we saw more of Randy Gregory last night, Antoine Woods with the departure of Everson Griffin and Dontari Poe. And the biggest thing was the takeaways. They were one of the league's worst heading into this game, only 3 through 7 games. Last night there were 4. And of course, it was Trayvon Diggs, the rookie, who's had a lot of time on some of these low light reels this year because he's been getting some of the tougher assignments. He was part of those 2 takeaways. So, look, after the game, Mike McCarthy said this is a sort of brand of football they want. This is the identity they want. It seems like things, at least on the defensive side of the ball, are trending in a better direction. Maybe not the best direction, but a better direction. And that's good for this team moving forward, especially when you consider you've got the Steelers coming to town.
I was rooting for Ben DiNucci last night. Maybe it's as a native Virginian, the James Madison thing. I don't know. He had his moments. Clearly not enough. He said this NFL thing is hard. But I think the headline that jumps out is since Dak got injured here, Jane, 36 offensive drives, 1 touchdown.
Yeah, it's hard not to like Ben DiNucci. You hear him in the presser and with the very honest admission, look, this NFL thing is hard. I think a lot of people around here just wanted something to believe in. So the thought process was it can't get any worse. Throw in the 7th rounder, the kid Ben DiNucci. Look, he had a lot of confidence, a lot of moxie. I think the trend that we're seeing with both him and Andy Dalton is simply holding the ball too long with this offensive line that has literally fallen apart this season. It was good that they were able to get Zach Martin back in there, but you still got Andy Dalton in concussion protocol, so we'll see who is going to get the start this weekend against the Steelers. But yeah, this thing has been tough in the absence of Dak Prescott. In fact, it was my producer, Bobby Belt, who made this observation, made its way around the internet last night. Worth noting, he said that Dak Prescott scored more points in the 4th quarter of his last full start against the Browns than the backups have now done in his absence. So I think the hope is maybe you find some semblance of this thing beginning to trend in a better direction, but they are having a hard time putting points on the board. And while it's great that you're seeing this defense step up, you still have got some problems scoring points in the end zone.
Yeah, and as you said, Ben DiNucci's hometown team, the Steelers, coming to town. Okay. Thank you, Jane Slater there with the Cowboys, who are very much in this because it is the NFC East.
How were you kind of feeling after that moment? Tight game the whole way and to have just sort of one fundamental problem at the end. Can you share sort of where your emotions were at?
How do you think we felt, Henry? I still am jeopardizing this team's success because of my lackluster performances of protecting the football. So, Coach trusts me with the ball in my hands, and I wouldn't want it any other way, and I just got to do a better job with protecting it.
So here are the offensive numbers, and they're pretty grim here for the Patriots. 19.4 points a game. That is the worst that they have put up in 20 years. And here's another one for Cam Newton. And remember, he did miss a couple of games there, had the COVID-19 diagnosis. 2 touchdown passes among the 32. Hi there, Mike Giardi, qualified quarterbacks here on that list. That is the fewest touchdown passes. He still almost pulled it off. I mean, they're in the red zone there. Imagine the flip side of this if he gets in, if they go there as an undermanned team and they beat the Bills. I mean, it's just one play. It is a roller coaster with this guy in this offense.
Yeah, it certainly is. And it was really kind of a tale of two halves, Andrew, for Cam Newton and the way the game was called and managed for him. And if you kind of watch that first half, a lot of head-scratching calls, I think, especially on 3rd down, 3rd and 8. You run the ball. On the first drive, 3rd and 4, you run the ball. That's not really kind of how the Patriots have played, obviously, for the last 20 years. But that's not even how they played maybe the first couple of weeks with Cam. So to me, it spoke to trying to nurture this guy and get him back to a competent level of quarterback play, which is something that clearly he had not given them in the first 2 weeks and didn't really give them in the first half. And then in the second half, you started to see some of those calls maybe, or some of the safe plays, sort of build his confidence. And then all of a sudden, for the first time in a long time, a month basically, they became a good offense and they were moving the football down the field. And as you mentioned, on that last drive with opportunities. But again, Cam picks an inopportune time to put the ball on the ground. And he said he's a predominantly right-handed guy, so he wants it in his right hand. Well, any coach will tell you, left sideline, left hand, right sideline, right hand. Never mind the fact that it wasn't high and tight. Just honestly, it just can't happen, and he knows it, and they know it, and it's a far cry. 3 and 4 beating the Bills and only being a game and a half back to now being 3.5 back at 2 and 5.
Yeah, imagine that. If they win and they get him again in Foxborough later in the season, this division feels a lot different. But Buffalo did win. Buffalo is 6-2. McDermott does get his first one over Bill Belichick, and the Bills are in the driver's seat here. And part of the reason was they finally ran the ball yesterday.
Yeah.
Zach Moss, this is the guy they thought they were getting, and they wanted to change their run game. We saw that yesterday.
Well, you can quibble with some of the things that the Bills did yesterday in terms of their game plan and execution, but their run offense is certainly not one of those things. They looked at how the Patriots have played against the run basically all season long and said, we can shove it down their throat, and that's pretty much what they did the entire game. And you had to love Moss. The more touches he got, sort of becoming more physical, finishing his runs, and just his confidence certainly growing. That's a team that said, look, in the preseason, it was all about we have to beat the Patriots. The AFC East goes to the Patriots. Of course, in the week leading up to the game, Andrew, it was like, well, it's just one game, and we're trying to win one game. So there's sort of a mixed message thing coming from the Buffalo Bills, but clearly finally getting a win. And Jerry